Hello, everyone. Welcome to the INXO online talk series, Arts Beyond Distance. I'm Egan from the INXO Arts and Culture Foundation. I'll be the moderator for all 5 evenings. We are currently on our season 2, episode 2. So Arts Beyond Distance actually was initiated as an online platform to feature one Malaysian artist every evening. And we try to get a little bit up close and personal to the artists and talk to them about their motivation and the process of creation and basically stories of how an artwork being created and the challenges that they face. Hopefully to be inspired by the creativity of our homegrown artists. So today we are very lucky to have Sharon Chin with us. Welcome, Sharon.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Jen.
Yeah, would you like to introduce yourself a little bit and tell us who you are and what you do?
Yes, sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Sharon, Sharon Chin, and I'm a visual artist. I'm here in my home in Port Dickson, Negeri Sembilan. But I'm actually a city girl. I grew up in PJ, all my life. So I moved here with my partner Zedeck in 2011. So it's been here almost 10 years.
Quite some time, yeah.
Oh,
I didn't realize it was so long ago. It occurs to me like, right.
Yeah, it's the same for me too, to be honest.
Yeah.
But this is home now, very much so. Yeah, it's taken a long time for it to feel like home, but it really is. And I know that it's home because for the past few years, a lot of my work is really informed by being here, Port Dickson. Yeah.
So how did that actually happen? How did you make that decision? Because I understand you grew up in PJ, like the city girl kind of, So why did you make that decision of moving to Port Dickson? So for those who doesn't know Port Dickson, our international friends, maybe it's a town by the sea.
Yes.
It's about 2 hours away from Kuala Lumpur.
That's right, yeah. Most Malaysians who grew up in the 80s, that's me, and I think you too, right, Ijan? Yeah, they will know about Port Dickson.
There was a song about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about that. Yeah. Oh, okay. I have to go check that out. That's very interesting.
Yeah. I used to sing it in the school choir, like telling about the scenery of the beach and
Oh, wow. Can you? Okay, no, I won't make you sing. Okay, I won't make you sing. I'll go look for it later.
So how did you make that decision moving down to Port Dickson?
Well, life in the city basically had become really difficult. I felt as an artist. So my partner Zedek's a writer. So cost of living was really high, and we were doing okay because there was a lot of projects. But it seemed that we were more busy than ever. So there were lots and lots of projects, but there's a feeling of we cannot move forward. Well, I couldn't. I felt I was doing a lot, but I wasn't really happy with my work. But I was very busy. So this kind of contradiction, I felt that okay, I think there's something that doesn't feel quite right here, and so something needed to change. And I studied in Australia, in Melbourne. So I think for us returnees, sometimes there's this feeling of intense reverse culture shock, and it can, for some people, I think it never goes away. They feel, I felt like not in touch with my place in Malaysia. So I needed to know whether it's just that I can't live in the city, or I can't live in Klang Valley. You know, I can't live and create in Klang Valley, or is it really that I cannot live in Malaysia?
Right.
So it was sort of drastic to that kind of level. And I found my answer, I guess. Yeah, because this is home.
So how has that move to actually influence your artwork? That must be a great level of influence.
Yeah, it changed my life. It changed my work. The biggest change, I think, is the relationship to time. That was the first thing that I noticed. That I felt differently about time, and also relate differently to time, in the sense of I can identify the feeling of when I don't have enough time. You know this feeling? I'm sure you know it, right? Everybody knows it. I don't have time. There's not enough time. And not to say this feeling never comes up again, but I can actually identify it. I can actually, and it's actually and also trace back to why I feel that way. I suppose the pressure, the time, like the reason why do I feel like there is time pressure for something? I still have deadlines. I still have deadlines now, so like I want to make sure that people understand that, you know, this is not just an idle life, or we like, you know, just growing vegetables, although we are trying to grow vegetables. There's still deadlines, there's still projects. It's just that that crazy deadline after deadline pace has really changed.
I think that very intense and compact way of looking at time, that when you live in a city, and in comparison to the flexibility that you get when you live away from.
I love that word, flexibility. There's I was telling friends, and also eventually I started to use this word a lot when talking about projects, is slack. So, you know, when you have a rope, you know, it's very tight, so there's no slack. And so that's one of the ways in which my work changed, I feel. In the process of it, in the making of it, I make sure right from the beginning it's designed for slack, so that at every step, the more slack we have, the better it is. More relaxed. But it doesn't mean that the quality is lower. There's a difference. That's one change as well, where when before I moved here, you know, I was I still am a perfectionist, very you can never get rid of it. But I was mistaking the polish of a work for the core of it, for the true, you know what I mean? Kind of spirit, the thing. So sometimes when a thing looks really polished and really good, that's all you see. And you don't really see the energy or the semangat that's inside the artwork or the piece. So for me, that was a big shift, where I try to invest as much as I can inside the core, and not so much on the surface, how professional it looks. It's done very professionally, but it doesn't need to look so polished.
Right. So with you, because we see a lot of different works that you do, actually I kind of have a feeling that it's not defined by a particular art form, because it seems you work also with like writings, drawings, printing, printmaking, visual art, installation, performance art. You know, there was also this interactive element that you engage to the audience. So how was your take? Because I think generally most of the artists that we know, they are refined by one or two art forms that is a little bit more like fixed towards the form. But for you in this case, how did you actually navigate this whole process of art making? Or
sometimes, you know, I do feel insecure about it too, like it just there's so much range, I suppose. Like, so okay, I show you. So this is a book. So about Port Dickson, right? It's not about Port Dickson, but this is a book that I collaborated with Zedeck. So Zedeck wrote the stories and I did the illustrations.
Yeah. So for those who are following the live video, this is a book called Creatures of Near Kingdoms.
Yes.
So yes.
And
anyway, we can get this book. Where can we get
that? Our publisher, shout out to our great publisher, Maple Comics. So you can, it's MAPLE, maplecomics.com.my. Yeah. And they're great. They publish graphic novels, all mostly Malaysian titles. Right. And the important thing about them is that they're creator owned. So this we still own this, even though they publish us. And it's quite a weird book, and we're so thrilled that they actually said, yeah, okay, we'll do it. So there's actually like it's full of pictures. There's 50 animal stories and 25 plant stories in there. And I did all the illustrations. So the animal stories are illustrated with lino cut. And the plant stories are illustrated with patterns.
Okay. Yeah, so can we say this is an art that come out from your move to Port Dickson?
Yes, in many ways, because this book took 4 years. Yeah. So I never worked on a project for 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah, it's always like, okay, this project done, finish. This project done, finish. It's 3 to 6 months, or at most it's even a year. But this took 4 years. But also the subject matter, because it's about animals and plants. And moving to Port Dickson, this is not a rural area. It's at most we can call it semi-urban. But our relationship to non-human life, I call it non-human life, not wildlife, but non-human life. Plants, weeds, animals like biawak, squirrel. It's the relationship is very close. Yeah, you can. There's just more interaction with these animals every day, because we have an abandoned lot opposite our house, and because of that, but also our neighbor has a lot of trees, and there are many more trees here. So this book came out of that. I think different relationship to the non-human world. And what they can teach us in a way. Learning to observe and to listen to them.
I like the take of how art making as how to say, so it's like you have you enjoy living and then art making together as one. And not creating the art strictly focused on only one form, and then it's more like the ideas, and then how do you want to present it in what way or in what forms?
Exactly.
Is that how it works for you?
Yes, there's that. There's that idea of flexibility again. Where what is the steady thing behind all the different mediums like performance or installation and illustration? Like, what is there a thread? So like when you put all these works together over the years, like that's my question, like a challenge also to myself, but also to the audience, whether whether I put enough of myself into the work so that you can actually trace a thread, this strong unbroken thread through all the work, even though the forms are so different. Because I feel that's very Malaysian. In Malaysia, there's never any one thing, although we try to make it, or groups of people, or like communities. There's this sense of it's always in tension with you know, this sense of like, actually, there's nothing that is fixed here.
Yeah.
Or only one singular thing, nothing. Yeah. So, but there is a kind of spirit that we can say we share.
Yeah.
That's my thinking lah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. So we actually have 10 envelopes here with 10 different questions that you can pick randomly, and then we can maybe go into each of those. So there are number 1 to 10, just randomly picked anyone.
Okay, let's do it. Gosh, 5, I guess.
5.
Yeah.
Okay. So for those who are listening to this live video, Sharon doesn't have any idea what's in all these envelopes, and so this is all gonna be like real time. Oh, exciting! I like this one. This is especially for you. What does fashion means to you?
Wow!
Clearly, you can tell I'm following you on your social media because, yeah, I actually, yeah. What does fashion mean to you?
What does fashion mean to me? Oh, I love fashion. I do. I actually get a lot of inspiration from it. Fashion to me is about mood. It's about mood, and mood's really important. Like vibe, kind of, because in visual art especially. So I've begun to do some work in film as well as production designer for a friend, Amanda Nell Yu's films. Short films, and it's been a really great experience because for me, film is all about mood and vibe. And in visual art, at least how I was trained, and also how I started making artworks professionally, there's a kind of, what's the message behind art? You know, it's got to have a this means this part means this, because this was the message that I wanted to convey. So sometimes it's very conceptually tight, you know, and there's no space for the vibe or the mood. So that's what I learned from fashion, is that when you dress, that it's not really rational. You're not saying that black color means I'm angry. Something. You know, not always lah. It's more subconscious. Yeah, because and I for that reason I really like I like studying music videos as well. Yeah, because that's a kind of music video is almost all mood. You know, you don't. A film, there's still a plot, there's still a story and narrative and everything, but music video is like, you know, it's colors, is like outfits, is backdrops, mood,
aesthetics maybe. For those who are following, I strongly recommend you follow Sharon on Instagram or any of the social media that she has, because it's a joy to actually see, you know, how she dress. You know, sometimes then I was thinking, okay, what about today? What's she gonna post? Like, what's she gonna wear? You know, it's really interesting to follow.
I haven't dressed up since the MCO. Okay, one time to take a.
I think most of us do.
It's so different, So it's really different. Yeah, like feel totally that outside face, you know, is like haven't really put it on for
exactly. I totally forgotten the feeling of wearing shoes. I think by now maybe some has a question about what is your professional training background? How did that brought you here?
Okay. So I have a degree in fine arts. I majored in sculpture. But I think the year after I graduated, the art school that I went to in Melbourne, Victorian College of the Arts, they got rid of all the departments. So there's no painting, no sculpture. It's all just one. Yeah. I came back to Malaysia after graduating in 2004, 2005. And I started. I knew I wanted to make a solo show. That's the one thing I knew I had to do and wanted to do. But in the meantime, I took part-time jobs. I wrote about art a lot. That was really a big part of how I started. And that part was really important because writing about my peers, other artists, well, first of all, you have to go and look at their work, which eventually I come to see that I feel at least 20% of an artist's time should be you go and look at your peers' work, even if you don't write about it. But I always think you should. Because then it really places you, you sort of know what is happening. It's not just about a scene, but it's also, you know the concerns of how people are looking at the same thing. Yeah, that's very important. I think there's never been enough of that. Especially for visual artists, we can get stuck in our studios a lot. So that was how I started, and then from that first solo show, that I took part in a few group shows. So my solo show was at Reka Art Space in Kelana Jaya. It was started by Chi Sek Tim. No longer there anymore, but it was very important to me, and Sek Tim was my first and probably only mentor. Don't really pick on mentors very easily, just not that kind of person. So, but he supported me a lot and also taught me a lot.
Right. Okay, let's pick another one.
Okay. Oh, another random question? Okay. All odd numbers, I guess. So number 3.
3? Okay, let's see. Okay. What do you enjoy the most being an artist?
Okay, really enjoy, not as in it's very hard, but then you know it's necessary, therefore you have to do it. Really enjoy. You get to pursue what you're interested in. There's freedom. I very much enjoy the freedom. There's another side to that freedom, but since we're talking about enjoyment, I won't mention it. But okay, I'll mention it a little bit. The other side is that it's that freedom comes with it's also difficult. It's a kind of burden and responsibility as well. But the joy of it is that if you have a question, if you like a thing, like if you just pursue this thing, you don't know why you like it, like printmaking, for example. You don't know, you can't say why, but you know that you like it, so you can follow and you can go and find out, and you can make things and you can question, and through that process you become more and more clear about who you are. You become more solid as a person, and when you feel solid, you can do a lot of things in the world.
I totally agree with that. So what is the flip side that's not really that enjoyable?
It's there are doubts. There's always a lot of doubt when you follow this path, because when you're pursuing it, you're like, why do I like this thing so much? To the point where you might, on this path, sometimes you really go very far from friends or family, or from expectations of society. and that can be scary. It can be lonely. There are a lot of doubts, and so when the doubts are there, why the question will come up? Why should you do it at all? Why? What's the use? What's the use of it, lah?
Yeah, I think sometimes that value of when the values are, because there are many ways to actually measure that value of art, but maybe in a very in the society that is very, very much controlled by this singular value, sometimes it's really challenging to navigate that.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that put on a lot of stress to artists actually.
And when you speak about value, and value as we understand it today is always monetary. You cannot. We live in capitalism, so there's no living outside it. And these are, but it's not. These are the conditions. These are the conditions for working, for living, and while we pursue what we want to pursue, you can be. We are sort of finding out new ways to be, new ways to live.
But I think the interesting thing is we are at this time that this pandemic is happening, that all these values and structures and systems that we know for hundreds of thousands of years are falling apart, and there might be this new values, new ways to measure values coming up in the whole new world after this whole thing is like finally calmed down. So it could be a time where we can actually establish a new way of living, a new way of valuing things.
I really hope so, because I don't want to go back to whatever it was before. I don't want to go back. There's a lot of it. It's not a sustainable or just system. I think that's we are being forced to look at how that is true now. I think we cannot say you don't know. We don't know that it's not working. So we have to go forward, and I think that there are models. There have always existed models that are not like the destructive one that we find ourselves currently in. And for me, I learned a lot from indigenous artists, friends, indigenous friends. Last year I started visiting a lot Center for Malaysian Indigenous Studies. I like from an artist point of view when I go there, actually I felt things that I felt a freshness that I haven't seen in art exhibitions for a long time. I'll be honest with you. Like when I hardly go to, I'm sad to say like that I hardly go to art exhibitions now in a gallery. It's quite rare. But I've been to CMIS, Center for Malaysian Indigenous Studies, a few times last year. And I always learn something from how they present the artworks, and also how they present. So there was an exhibition about languages, not lost languages, but like languages that are going extinct in Malaysia, indigenous languages, but also in its relation to the main languages like Bahasa Melayu, English, and so on. And the presentation of that, like, I learned a lot from it, about how to communicate clearly the artwork, or present it clearly without needing to look. You don't need the artwork label to be printed exactly square and like perfect lighting on the thing. Like that's what I feel like that's what we've come to understand. Like, oh, this is an art exhibition, it's proper one. You know, there's wall text on the wall, and there's like and sometimes well, for me, I think is distracting. You know. Whereas the displays at CMIS, they are, you know, it was just laminated card, but the sensitivity by which this information, okay, is placed outside. So you read it first, and then you come in, or you know, it's not placed directly beside the necessary beside the video.
I totally get you, because I usually try not to read first. I usually try to see the art first. It's the same when I watch movies or when I go into a show, a performance. I usually don't read the program notes first. I will keep it to the end. I will see the work first.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I don't like to be like, this limitation of, you know, because once you read it, it will lead you towards that one direction, because that's in your mind. So I always try to not read it first. That's just me. Not everybody, I think. But that's how I approach art. I think that's also something very important for people who approach art. That's a way of how we train our skills to appreciate an art.
Yes. I agree. Because I think in terms of discourse about art, like exhibition design or presentation, in terms of, we always think in terms of accessibility. Oh, we got to make it accessible for the audience. And like for me, I think I agree that it should be accessible, but we should talk about much more basic accessibility, such as, like, is there wheelchair access? Let's talk about accessibility. You know, is the location accessible by public transport? So these are the basic things, and then beyond that, I think there are so many codes in an art space that are unwelcoming. You know, so I trust my audience lah. I don't know about other artists, but I generally trust audience to say if they say I don't get it, mean they don't get it. And
it's nothing wrong.
There's nothing wrong with that. They just didn't get it.
The problem is, I think the structure and system always taught us to be the correct one, and we're so afraid of being wrong. That's why, like, this whole thing have to be like correct. But if you don't understand, then you just say you don't understand. It's not everything under the sun that we understand. There's so many things that we don't understand.
It's useful for artists to hear that too sometimes. It's very humbling, you know. But
I think the fun part of art exists in our lives. That's one big reason. Because art provides us a room to actually expand that imagination and also to technically be wrong. Well, it's not wrong, but
it's no. There's the field of it's an open field to experiment and then to discuss.
That's fun. Right, let's go to the next one. Maybe one
question. 9.
Okay, let's see. Question number 9. Oh, what does being Malaysian means to you?
Nasi lemak. So mean, right?
I completely understand the nasi lemak thing. Because I was in Sydney for a month last month, and one of these days I just lost it, and I have to have my nasi lemak, and then I spent like 20 Aussie dollar, which is maybe 60 ringgit for one nasi lemak. And then when I'm back here, I'm feeling like, oh, what did I do? What did I just do?
No, I get it. I don't mean to like, but okay. But actually, okay, since we talk about nasi lemak, no, I share this when I'm overseas, like, there is a deep craving.
Yeah.
And I think the thing about nasi lemak or other kind of food is a body thing. Body. It's a thing that you can't, we give food, like food is a easy name for it.
Yeah.
But it's a longing in the body.
Yeah.
And for me, I think being Malaysian means relationship to the land and relationship to place. This one is for me is new, developed, this connection to the land, because I can say I'm Malaysian, but where's my place? Do I have a? It's not in the imagination, It is an place is a big part of a place is the imagination of that place. But to have a relationship to the land, to have a relationship to the place, what does that mean? It's a quite deep thing, I think. It means that this land gives us everything, water. Without water, we die. Air, the forests are making the air for us, is growing the food. So in the city, I always buy, I always buy my food from the supermarket. But also, I grew up in shopping malls. I literally grew up in shopping malls because my parents, they had a chain of food restaurants, and it was all branches in shopping mall.
Okay.
So that's my childhood. I spent maybe 10 to 12 hours in the shopping mall. I know all the shopping mall at that time around Crime Valley. Like really, it's my home. So that was my relationship, and sometimes we'll go to Port Dickson, we go to the beach, we'll go to a waterfall or something, but it's not the same. It's not the same as being very, very close to the land. So when we moved here to Port Dickson, that was when things began to change lah. I can see that, like, because we have a garden, it's very wild, but it is a garden. So when we throw our vegetable waste in the land, it just grows by itself from the compost heap. So you don't actually, because we don't know how to garden. We're really clueless. But the thing, you don't need to do anything and it grows. That's Malaysia. That's how rich we are.
I realized that since MCO, because I start to throw things into the pot and then they just grow. In 1 month.
And that is Malaysia. And not every land is like that. Not every land is as generous as this land. And therefore, that's why all the injustices, like this feeling of like, we don't have enough, we cannot share with our outsiders or migrants or whatever, is ridiculous. And this deep truth comes from when you understand what this land really is, how giving it is. So for me, is a sense of how can I live up to the promise of the land. That means, like, I have to be worthy. It's not that I deserve to be here. It's that I must show that I'm worthy of this land that's so generous, that can do so many things. I have to be as good as the land is. Otherwise, I cannot be Malaysian. No meaning.
Speaking about that, I understand you recently had a project with something to do with the forest reserved. Is that right?
Yes.
What is the project about? Maybe you can tell a little bit.
Okay, so it's art it's called Art for Hutan Kita. Right now exists as a website, and is actually initiative by a group of us artists who are trying to do something to save North Kuala Langat Forest Reserve. So this is the forest reserve that just before MCO started was in the news a lot because it's under threat of degazettement by Selangor government, who they have a joint business relationship with developer to turn it into a mixed development.
Right.
Okay, so this is the map where you can see the location of the forest reserve, and there are 9 orang asli villages around there, and they have actually this forest reserve, right? All around it, you see Cyberjaya, you see Putrajaya. All around it was forest, and all around it was forest reserve, and all around it was inhabited by orang asli for hundreds of years. Okay, from before like Malaysia's history even started. But now this little area here, they also want to get rid of it and turn it into mixed development. A little bit further down from the forest reserve is Gamuda Cove. So this is is very systematic. The slow encroachment of development into forest land. And the people the villagers who are going to be affected is the Temuan Orang Asli villagers, at least 2,000 of them. And even now for us in Port Dickson, right, we live very close to Sepang. So now one of the big changes of MCO is that we no longer hear the airplanes going overhead. It's been amazing lah. Ever since we moved here, we have never had this kind of silence.
Right. I actually observed that changes of
sounds
from nature, even birds singing, they are different before and after MCO.
Yes. And I bring up
in PJ where I lived. You
feel it over there, right? So I bring up Sepang and KLIA, the KL International Airport, because that area also used to be Orang Asli land, and they relocated the villages there to near to this area, near to this Kuala Langat Forest Reserve, and then again, this process has been going on for many years, and it's part of the narrative of Malaysia actually, and we have to face it. So back to Art for Hutan Kita, we have in our group artists and indigenous activists, Shak Koyok, my friend, whose his village is actually directly affected by the potential degazettement. So he has been the one who spearheaded a lot of things in the media and try to get more attention on this issue. So it's a fight lah. Before MCO started, we did a first field trip to the forest reserve. A group of artists, there were 30 of us. Because we felt that it's very important. You cannot get the relationship from media reports. You can feel outraged and so on, but that outrage is not long-lasting. It's not, because it's not based in, you have to go and touch the ground. You have to go and touch the tree. So that was my first trip there as well. And I met a tree. It's more than 300 years old. It's so hard to even talk about it, to meet the tree, because it really feels, it's so tall. Is Meranti? I hope I get it right. Shak, if you are online there, please correct me. It's a Meranti Paya, I believe, because that's peatland forest. But I go and put my hand on the tree, and there's no words. There's really no words. but there is a kind of relationship and a communication. And once you go, for me, once I went and touched the land, then that give the energy and that we need to fight. Because if we follow the logic, this is a forest reserve. If we cannot even save a forest reserve, it's gazetted. Legally, it's gazetted. If we cannot even save a forest reserve, there's no hope for
so
other
what's
areas.
The point of making it a forest reserve when it's not reserved?
So I really hope after MCO is lifted, we can continue our field trips there, because it's really this first-hand contact that we need. But in the meantime, we have the website and artists creating artworks in response to.
So for those who are following, we will share this link after the talk on the INXO Arts and Culture Foundation Facebook page. So if you're interested to be like join them in this movement, you are always welcome to contribute in any way. It's Art for Hutan Kita 4 is like number 4, but we will share the link later.
Thank you.
Okay, so there are quite a few questions coming in from the audience. First one. Hi, I'm curious about the time management as an artist. How do you manage your time for creating?
Okay, I give from my personal experience is that you have to feel what's your relationship to time. And I'm sorry if it's such a deep thing, because it is a deep thing. Relationship to time means relationship to deadline and productivity. Now, you want to be productive, but my question to you, especially now, given COVID-19 and how the world is changing, what does productivity mean? This is a question you have to ask. I think for me, once I have a grip on that question, what do I want to produce? Then the time management, then it's like I calculated backwards how I'm going to use my time. Rest, is there time for rest as well? And then to regenerate. These are questions. I won't give the tips because I think it's a personal thing and you got to really ask yourself.
I think there's quite a lot of what do you call self this time management is it's really personal, but you need a lot of self-motivation kind of thing that is behind this whole thing.
Because you if I mean, here's the thing, right, is that I'll say like when I first moved here to Port Dickson, I didn't make any art for almost 2 years. I never felt like that before. It was terrible. It was like I never want to go through that again. Like losing my identity, because if I'm not producing art, who am I? What am I? Like nothing. But then it's like, you know, this feeling of I don't have enough time to do this thing. Maybe there's a lot of things that you don't need to do. It doesn't need to be. You don't.
It's true. Because if you put this period of 2 years time in the longer, like the whole lifespan of being an artist, it could possibly be like this is a time off that you really need. But when you look at it as a 2 years period, it feels like it has been so long and I never create any art. But you know that how do you see that time in relation to this whole bigger picture of I think there's this different layer and facade to this.
So I don't want to like the reason why we moved to Port Dickson as well is for material reasons, because here we actually don't have to pay rent. That's a huge thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's related to, because when you talk about time management, it means that there are things you need to do because you need to cari makan.
Yeah.
And you need to, so there are all these things are they contribute to this sense of like, I really need to be very disciplined.
Yeah.
And it's a serious, it's a serious thing. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's another question came up. Are there any significant impacts on your artistic practice or process during the pandemic outbreak period?
Yeah, of course. It's not business as usual. Yeah. First 2 weeks, a little bit of the same feeling of when I first moved here to Port Dickson. Emptiness, totally empty and lost. Because it's like, who needs art, you know?
Yeah.
Who needs, sorry, but
yeah.
Who needs exhibitions? Who needs who needs me? No, not.
Yeah.
But so that was the major impact lah. Then
and has that been overcome yet, or like?
Yeah, because I tried. There's a big urge to do something. Like I just need to do something to help or something like that. Yeah. But that when I was going through it, then I mean in those 2 weeks, like actually I cannot really do anything.
Yeah.
You know, I
guess anybody suffered from that period of time when the outbreak. I mean, not specifically only artists, but most of the people. You know, people talk about these different levels of like how you respond to a situation. Yeah. So that is quite normal, I guess.
Like I mean, I could easily have like, okay, you know, really focus on doing things, helping out. So there's guilt, there's shame. It's heavy, and but
I saw you working on some print.
Yeah. So
just
after
very recently, right?
Yeah. I started doing printmaking, and I actually I bought a printing press a while ago. So this is it's a etching press. It's a hand press. That so it's not like a electronic like printer, you know, or like even an offset machine. So it's just
like
this
an old school
machine.
way of doing.
It's old school, totally mechanical process lah. And like I bought it a while ago because I had sold some artwork. So I thought, okay, I will invest in this machine that can print things. So it's like printing art or printing money, okay? But I didn't have the time to use it. So then I finally started using it, and it's been so wonderful, and I feel really grateful to have this press and also the printmaking process. I feel so excited because printmaking, there's many steps to it. It's very methodical work. So you have, it's quite calming in that sense. You have to go through the steps. You got to put the ink out. You got to soak the paper. You have to like ink up the plate, wipe the plate, make the plate first, of course, and then print it, and after that you have to clean up. So this kind of step-by-step process has been it sort of lead me out, and then lead me to the next thing, and then there were like a couple of weeks ago, then it's like, I know, it's a feeling. I know things have changed. Something has changed inside. The conditions have changed, and then on the road to somewhere again. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay, we can pick up one last question here. Apa pendapat Sharon berkenaan perkembangan seni visual masa kini?
Masa kini.
So what's your opinion towards the visual art growth?
Masa kini maksudnya 2 minggu lalu ke 2 bulan or perkembangan seni visual.
Current situation, or now current situation is tricky.
Okay. I answer half in Malay and half in my not very good bahasa and then a bit in English also. So saya rasa kita kena bezakan antara industri seni visual dengan perkembangan seni itu sendiri. There is a relationship between creative industries and art itself. So when we think about it, I think we also need to be clear which one is which. In terms of industry and livelihood, that's its own set of discourse, and I think it's actually very important for us to talk about. I think kita tak ke mana. That's my honest answer. We do not know the way. There's no strong way forward. I think there's a rush to put things online. So everything, content, make a lot of content to go online. That's what we are doing lah. But in terms of the necessary conversations, like this one, I think conversation is very important.
I think that rush of putting content online is a scary thing, because it could affect actually not only affecting the quality of the art itself, but also affect the way people take art. Because if this carry on for a longer time, then it might become norm in how people consume art, or how they appreciate what kind of art and the content that they take in. It might be a totally different thing. And I think artists have to be really aware of creating an art. It takes time. And it's not like, okay, now there is this pandemic and then we have to quickly put everything on. It's really dangerous.
Yes, I agree, and I think that the challenges that we had before MCO, they are the same challenges. That means not enough dialogue, peer-to-peer dialogue. We're still waiting for other people to create the dialogue for us, to organize the conversation. But actually, we need to be talking more and organizing more with each other, so that the condition still the same, challenges still the same, or even more.
All right. So thank you very much for joining us today. We hope to keep this going. This conversation is really important, and I think for both artists, the creators, and also people who consume art, it's important.
I feel that, thank you for doing this, because I do feel a kind of energy from you, and even though I can't see all the other people out there, but maybe I feel it. I'm sure you're out there.
There are still quite a few questions coming in, but we don't have time for that. But we can actually follow up on Facebook, so it's
okay.
But
we can always do that. We will see each other again.
So for those who are following, thank you for coming back. We still have 3 more nights, so there are 3 more artists. If you come back tomorrow and day after, and on the following day, we on the same time, 8 p.m. Malaysia time. So there is this feedback form that please feel free to fill in. You can also suggest whichever artist that you would like to see on the next season. and give any feedback that you feel is useful. Yeah. So thank you very much, and please stay healthy, stay safe. Yeah. Right.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Yi-Chen, and the team behind the scenes. Thank you.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Bye.